I was wearing this exact shirt at like a national park. I think it was in California.
Yeah.
California with my dad and my brother, and we were like hiking, and we were just like still in like the main entranceway where there's still more people before you go off and you branch into different paths and hiking trails. And this one like straight bro dude with like aviator glasses and like a t-shirt and gym shorts, and I was wearing this shirt and just like not tight jeans but like jeans that fit.
Jeans that fit by men. Get yours today.
And he's like walking this way towards me, and then he like looks at my shirt and he says, "What is that, a pocket?" And then I said in retort, "Yeah, I got your mother's testicles in it."
And then he exploded, right? Like glitter?
No, he kept walking and I didn't look back.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. That's great. What kind of... That's amazing too, because he probably thought like he had a thing after Pocket he was working on. He was workshopping in his head. Like,
no, I'm way ahead of you, sis. Don't try it. Don't try it.
Way ahead of you, sis. Spelled C-I-S. Hello, I'm your strict German daddy who won't let you finish Deckle Edge.
Deckle Edge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Deckle Edge.
Oh, I like that. And I'm the tramp stamp that lets the whole world know that you have actually done this before. That. And welcome to Unprotected Texts, the vlog where we talk about whatever we want.
Because it's our vlog.
And not yours. There is so much paper!
This time we're going to talk about Trixie and Katya's Guide to Modern Womanhood. If you're not familiar with Trixie and Katya and their show, okay, if you found this before you found
then
who are you? Email us.
We want to meet.
Honestly, I need to know that story.
It should be very clear if you go back and watch some of our previous stuff. This is a very conscious imitation of, and I don't want to say parody of, but we took some cues.
They have a book out now. Their Guide to Modern Womanhood, where they take you through a bunch of things.
Grooming, personal hygiene, drugs,
sex,
relationships, friendships, beauty, makeup,
money.
Yeah, money.
Yeah,
it's all here.
I enjoyed the crap out of this book.
Okay.
It was absolutely delightful. Like, I have one complaint. I'm going to state it right at the top. One complaint, right at the top. It says in the opening, this will cure all your ails for your cuticles. Now, I'm not saying that would be easy. I am a work in the restaurant business. I'm a baker. Our cuticles are fucked. All I know is that it's like 95% humidity, and I am bleeding like fucking Jesus Christ out of my fingers right now.
What did I like about it?
Yeah.
Pretty much everything. I remember like the first little sniff, or more like
we all
huff.
remember our first little sniff.
Yeah. Oh, pheromones.
How did you find out about Trixie?
How I found out about it. Like, it was, I follow Trixie and Katya on Twitter and Instagram. And like the very first announcement about the book and like any sort of hint about a forthcoming ISBN, so that way I could look up the publisher, because it's all in the ISBN.
Oh yeah.
So I figured out who the publisher would be, Plume Books, an imprint of Penguin Random House, and immediately emailed our manager to say, I know this looks like a joke, but if you can at all get me a advanced reader copy, I would very much appreciate that, because I just wanted to read it. Also supposed to be originally published in May, per Ingram and iPage and our wholesaler sources. Then they pushed it back 2 months, I guess.
Which is happening more.
Yeah, but honestly, I mean, it's not hurting them, because as we just saw, like, they are #2 on the New York Times bestseller for how-to and advice.
What would you call this book? Like,
genius.
It's
genius.
I mean, yes. I mean, I would also say that it is a brilliant masterpiece of design and function and fashion, you know, in a brilliant package. But it's also, you know, if you're familiar with their show, first off, how do you not already own this book? I mean, that's honestly, I don't understand. But
should have been a pre-order.
For real. Pre-orders help authors.
They really do.
They really do. It is like there's conversation pieces, there's just them going back and forth, there's deep dives into, there's some tea spilled.
A little bit, yeah.
A little tea spilled.
Those conversation pieces, so what you're referencing is there are 3 specific sections where it's literally just a transcript, a dialogue of them going back and forth on personal style, traveling, and friendships. Yeah. I think the idea behind that was to basically take the format of their YouTube show and put it in a book. Yeah. So what did you think of that? Did you think it was successful?
I thought it was great. It read you know, because at this point, I've pretty much seen every episode. Matt's definitely seen every episode.
Many times.
Many times. We watched the documentary. We're pretty caught up. And so it felt totally like them, just bantering and zip-zap-zopping.
You miss the third character of the editor.
Yes.
Like the visual gags.
Yes.
But
sorry, go ahead.
But I mean, like, if you know the show, then you kind of like are able to guess what's going on.
You can do, but I would say there is like an editor with visual gags in here. The sheer craftsmanship in this book is so worth your money. Like I am legitimately, like, I'm a snob.
And no book jacket, so you don't have to deal with frayed edges.
No book jacket.
But it's hardcover.
It's hardcover, it feels nice. And I'm a huge goddamn snob when it comes to books. Matt knows this. I don't like Penguin classics. I barely like Everyman. Sometimes.
What about, I'm gonna trigger you, Oxford.
Oh my god! Why don't you just take a shit in some paper and hold it? Because that's what you get. They're like, they yellow in like 15 seconds. I'm surprised.
That's Bleak House by Charles Dickens.
I am surprised that those do not like vaporize the second they hit the sunlight. All this to say, I am a huge goddamn snob when it comes to like production of books, and I'm very opinionated about it. That being said, this book is beautifully designed.
Beautiful color photos.
Bam! Beautiful color photos, glossy pages, they did not skimp, and the font, I mean, I'll put some things in here, is like nice and Vogue. It's got that fashion mag look. The layouts... It pops. The layouts are well put together. The different... because you're dealing with a lot of different formats. You're dealing with conversation pieces, you're dealing with actual
lists,
quizzes.
There's a quiz.
There's a quiz.
In case you weren't enough of a narcissist, you can find out more about yourself.
I learned a lot about myself, and I already knew so much. Okay, so I think there is, like, when you reference the editor in their videos, you know, the essential third character that's adding all the flavor. Like, we have one here. His name is Gregor, and so he'll, you know, punch this up. I hope. Fucking gets it.
If we give him enough sardines, he will.
He loves those. I think that element does exist in this book, particularly with this page, where they're kind of talking a little trash on some other drag queen styles, like what they like to see in style. And Katya says, "I've been accused of being too random, not trying hard enough." You know what I mean? Like, it's this thing I've heard a lot, like, ugh, you could work with anything. And the picture they chose to put next to that little passage is one of the most ridiculous outfits I have ever seen her wear. And it does work.
This is what you wear when you're going to the premiere of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel, and you want to screw up the person behind you's view to the stage.
Oh, absolutely. Which I always do when I go to Rodgers. Why? I better tickets, dick. Also in this part, I believe it was Trixie who says that she doesn't like sequins. So then cut to Katya wearing every sequin there is. So book production A+, content A+, personality A+, usefulness. I got some useful stuff out of this. There's a section
to elaborate.
Let's just say.
I'm so excited.
It's not that bad. It's not that juicy, unfortunately. There's stuff on relationships and friendships.
Go on.
I was just like, this is a little too close to home, but it works. They're talking about breakups and everything else. Well, Trixie does the breakup section, which is very short and very succinct, and I love it. It's like a page and a half. The Katya segment on sex being like, sometimes great dick is great, but it's just great dick.
Yeah.
And there are
it's not a good night's sleep.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Which I would literally kill a hardworking, honest, orphaned child in a mill factory in 18th century London.
You would set an orphanage on fire.
Absolutely.
Why stop with one?
Once you pop, you can't stop. I would do all that for one solid 8-hour chunk of time where my brain does not talk to me.
Nobody talk to me anymore!
I also really liked the Trixie section on breakups because she she talks about like her story about a really devastating breakup that she was really wrecked about, and at the end of it all she was like, girl, it's not a big deal. Just feel what you have to feel and then move on. Like, it's nothing special.
Yeah.
Oh, the only one complaint I would have about this is that I feel like Trixie's sections and her chapters, her bits are a little short, like on the short end, and I think she could have gone longer. And I'll be quite honest, in the vlog, and just as like a drag queen and as a performer persona, I am fans of both of them, and I like both of them. But I think I would say that I relate more to Trixie's humor and her story and what she does as a performer. And she's a musician. I'm a musician.
Yeah.
So I sort of tend to gravitate toward Trixie more.
You're
However,
from the Midwest.
Exactly. Brown teeth. All of that.
Skinny legend.
Well.
You shaped up, Buzz.
Was more taken up in and taken along for a ride with Katya and her writing, and it was longer. I felt like she like spooled things out a little bit more and wasn't afraid to go off on tangents. But she's equally adept at like accidentally sharing nuggets of wisdom from her experience, and she's had some wild stories that you would just not believe, like from the vlog and from this book.
Yeah,
it's like, how?
I think it's great because you relate more to Katya. I definitely relate, or you relate more to Trixie.
Right.
I relate more to Katya, not on the level, to be clear. Like still, I think I'm still on the scale, on like this imaginary scale of Katya to Trixie. We're both a little closer to Katya or to Trixie than Katya, but you are more Trixie than me.
Okay.
It's like the one self-help book.
That knows it's a self-help book.
That knows it's a self-help book.
And not like some sort of divine golden tablet dropped from on high, a la, Jen Sincero. This book is purporting to be funny. And this is something that this is something that I think could be like a really interesting cultural piece if I had time to write it. But I'm just going to speak it into existence now. I think that, and I want, of course, your opinion on this, I think that these two right here, and in addition to them, a lot of other drag queens, both that have been on RuPaul's Drag Race and not, there's a certain breed of drag queens in the world in the 21st century who are continuing the long and proud tradition of the wise fool in literature.
Yes!
Do you know what I mean by that?
I do know what you mean.
Like,
I do. Shakespeare galore. I can't pick just one. Falstaff.
The wise fool in King Lear. Also think about Gargantua and Pantagruel by Francois Rabelais. Think of Stultitia from Moriae Economium is the name, and The Praise of Folly by Decidius Erasmus.
Yes, yeah.
So like the fool, or the wise fool, the fool who knows he's a fool and is very self-aware, had its heyday in the Renaissance and really exploded in the 16th century. But even before that, like fools, both as like literary constructs, but as people in society, were widely acknowledged and sometimes even revered in the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can even get real hot, have a real hot take right here. I'm about to piss off half of America with this hot take right here.
Brace yourselves.
Lean in, evangelicals, get a load of this. Jesus was a fool. If you read St. Paul's letters to the first letter to the Corinthians, chapters 3 and 4, specifically saying and exhorting people to be fools for Christ, and that those who think they are wise in the ways of the world must become fools in order to be the wise fool. And if you really think about it, a lot of the messages that Jesus propounded and the parables, the metaphors that he used about children, mustard seeds, talents, it's all just like simple little things. And he was basically completely bucking the system that the Pharisees and the lawyers and the high priests of Judaism at the time were propounding. And he was like, we're not doing that. We're not doing that no more. And there's a new covenant now, and get in line. So am I saying that Trixie, Mattel, and Katya are
Jesus Christ, second coming? Because I feel like that's what
I'm
you're
not
leading
saying.
to.
I'm not saying that. To me, some of the best drag queens are those who are in on the act. Like, yes, I think it's impressive when a drag queen can dress themselves or paint themselves to have such a convincing illusion of femininity, of like over the top femininity in their body, their face, and their actions. But the ones I gravitate to are the ones who are witty and like in on the joke. Like, they are in on it.
Yeah.
They don't take themselves too seriously. They might take what they do and like their performance seriously, and like want to do something of integrity, but and not just be like a mess. But they're so like Trixie, Katya, Bianca Del Rio, Lady Bunny, Coco Peru, Jinx Monsoon, Sharon Needles, just some of the best literally Jujubee the most. Okay, so we filmed this right after the episode before you get to the top 3 of All Stars 5 in RuPaul's Drag Race, and one of the top 3, spoiler, is Jujubee. And literally, she wore like a jester's outfit with like cones.
Oh my god, I did see this.
Like,
yes.
She's in on it.
Yeah.
She knows. She understands.
Yeah.
She's an idiot and she doesn't hide it.
Yeah.
And I think that is so refreshing. And I think it speaks to, one of the reasons maybe, and this would be an interesting cultural expose again, I think one of the reasons Drag Race has been able to stay in the mainstream so long is not just because RuPaul is a marketing genius.
Well, that's very true.
But
seriously,
also because, similar to the Renaissance, when ideals and social mores and cultural institutions that had been accepted for literally 1,000 years were being reevaluated and reformed in a massive way. So the 16th century was a time of enormous upheaval and things being thrown out the window, and so that's why part of why the Fool had such a resurgence. And I think in late stage capitalism, we're just
this is fucking the like second to last chapter of late like not even late stage capital, final capitalism.
Even when the pandemic is gone, like social inequality and racial tensions are just going to get worse. And so I think that the people who mock the established wisdom and the elites and the money grubbers and everything in the world, not just in America, but across the world, because it does have world appeal.
Absolutely.
I think they're here to stay, and I can't wait to see.
Yes! Okay, but not only is that, I completely agree, that's an amazing, wonderful, like, 100% yes, that is you connecting drag queens, or just drag culture, to Jesus Christ and the Renaissance is the most Matt thing. I think you just named everything you like.
So let me ask you something.
Yes.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
did you laugh out loud when you read this?
Yes, I did laugh out loud at mostly the conversation pieces, back and forths. Obviously, because it felt so natural and so like their videos. Because the people who made this book, like not just Trixie and Katya, who obviously had a lot of influence, the physical production team gave a crap. And,
sure did.
And not only is it laid out beautifully, the punctuation and the inflection comes across so naturally. Like there's always like, when you want periods, there are periods.
Or clapping.
Or clapping, or like any of the...
Warping. I laughed out loud. I think the traveling section where they talk about air travel is probably the funniest. Like literally the part where Katya was like, she learned that if the plane is going down, that if you leave your laptop or your tablet like in the little pouch in the seat in front of you, like if the plane is like angled and the 0G force is strong enough, that thing can fly out and like completely take your head off if it hits you right. Like just snatched ball. You like Trixie as a musician?
Here's the thing about Trixie's music. One, I think she is an expert musician.
Okay.
Like I can listen to it and like listen to the lyrics and like the structure and be like, wow, that's a really great song. Not my personal style of music. I mean, I'm okay with...
Do you mean like the folksy, bluegrassy type stuff, or like the more modern, like 60s pop?
Well, the more modern stuff I actually don't like as much. I'm a bigger fan of like bluegrass, folk, like straight. It's the same. It's like the one musical genre, and I have like, it's taken like 30 years for me to accept that there are like other bands besides Led Zeppelin, but like there's still like one segment of music where it's like pop country or pop folk that just doesn't do it for me sound wise. That being said, when I go see, if Trixie came to town and was like, I'm just
like our town,
and I was like, I'm not doing jokes, I'm not doing anything else, I'm just gonna get out there and I'm gonna sing my album, I would fucking go in a sec. Anyway, do you like Trixie's?
I do. I even like, so
little history story time.
I remember it would have been like a little over 2.5 years ago at this point. And All Stars 3 was airing, and like she was releasing new music. And her first album, Two Birds, was already out, and she was releasing the single Moving Parts. First the acoustic version where it's just her on auto harp, like very stripped down production, and then with the album the full produced track. And I remember I'd already sort of liked her stuff, but this was like in the twilight years of my previous long-term relationship. And rough times, kind of a roller coaster time, but the long and short of it, just very sort of confused and not really knowing how to help or like what to do. And I remember Moving Parts was released, and I would listen to that, and I listened to the whole thing, and it's great both musically and lyrically. And I listened to that, and it just, hit me. He doesn't love you. He's gonna break up with you, and it'll all be fine. You just go back to square one all over again and move on, and it'll be fine.
Also, I really like the stripped down acoustic version of that song, like a lot.
She's really great.
She's great.
Harp,
I'm sorry,
guitar.
Very talented.
Learn piano, Trixie. I'll teach you.
Oh my god, how fucking freaked would you be?
I would be plucked. Snatched bald. If Trixie Mattel called me up and
plucked,
said...
snatched, spatchcocked. Boop, 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 doop, boop. You have anything else?
We just recently learned today that more episodes are forthcoming. They have been sort of doing the whole Queens Who Like to Watch thing from the comfort of their own homes. And that's been entertaining.
Absolutely.
I honestly couldn't listen to either of them.
I was going to say, it doesn't matter what they're doing.
Yeah, like, either of you could just come to my house, punch me in the face any day of the week.
For real, though. That's a real offer.
Seriously, look forward to that show every week. It makes my week.
It is wonderful, and like, on every level, on every level it's an inspiration. Like, it's as people who have like started to get into like super low budget production, to just see a team of like two, admittedly way more talented than us, artistes, ooh,
feminine women.
Exactly. Champions. True,
Yes.
honest to God champions. But then also just the fact that, like, yeah, it's just them, a goddamn, like, green screen, and a really talented editing team, who just puts in the work. Like, that is honest to God.
And millions of views later.
And it's deserved. It's so earned. It's like not one of those YouTube channels you come across and you're like, how the fuck does this have like 14,000 subscribers?
Right.
Like, all you did was film yourself playing like Fallout 4 for 30 minutes and be like, oh, okay, guys, I'm 14 years old. We have rambled and ranted probably more than we ever have, and I love it.
And watched their respective seasons of Drag Race.
Yeah, watch it. Honestly, I should watch more Drag Race.
In the days before it was like really popular, and in the days when I still had an Amazon Prime account, like seasons 4, 5, and 6, which are like some of the best.
Okay.
They were all free on Prime. And then
That is.
And then after season 8, when it got like super mainstream and they moved to VH1, you can't get nothing.
Jeff Bezos, you
Can't
did
get
one good thing. Making those seasons free for that time. And if you'd like to follow us, our bullshit, follow us on Instagram at unprotected.texts.
Or on Twitter at unprotectedtext.
Yes, and there are also podcast versions of all of our episodes. And there will be a podcast version of this one, which, my God, that might be a long one. I'm just gonna say right now.
Brace yourself.
We usually include
It'll
more.
probably be more than an hour.
Yeah, we usually include more of like the fluff talk, the little banter back and forth on the podcast version.
And our cup runneth over today.
You can find all of those at this website because I can't remember what comes first. I can't remember the address, unprotectedtext.libsyn or libsyn.unprotectedtext, but there's the website. It'll also be in the link there. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you're gonna run from yourself,
At least bring a book.
hello, I'm the controversial writer that'll stir the pot and cure your cramps, Gore My Doll.
And I'm the proud owner of an independent bookstore that specializes in gay erotica and anatomically correct medical books. Bend my spine.
Hello, I'm my own worst nightmare, Jacob.
And I'm the pitcher and the belly itcher, Matt.
Hello, I'm your embarrassing aunt's Facebook post. No, not the political one, the sexy one.
And I'm that lawsuit that you forgot to hand in to your publisher for taking advantage of you because you're too senile to remember, Matt.
Hello, my garbage fires melt steel beams, Jacob.
And I take those steel beams and I ground them into my quinoa dishes, Matt.
Hello, I'm the original swamp ass, Jacob.
And I'm that poor sap in a mattress suit on the side of Route 1 in the blazing heat that you feel sorry for, Matt.